Yo, so my opinion on finding purpose. What do I think of it? I'm still learning a lot about this. I think there are a couple things I want to address that I don't think, and they're actually written down. Yeah, that I think one should try to do more and do less of, and some of it contradicts the popular advice online. So you might like it. Let's see. So the first thing is about like self transcendence, sort of, thinking that a purpose needs to lie beyond just you, mainly about, like basically thinking about what you bring to the world beyond yourself. I think this is very often like said out there, maybe the most important thing, um, but I don't think it's like even explained properly. And I actually struggled with this because I thought that it meant that I every single time, like almost like I couldn't like procrastinate or having any resistance, because if I did, it was like I didn't care about others. And I think this is very unhealthy, and very toxic as well, having that out there, whatever toxic means. But I think there's value in it. I think there's value in self transcendence, but I think it should be like addressed more clearly and spoken about, explained in more detail. From what I see, I think if you're in a very bad position, it's almost like you're drowning. And when you're drowning, all you want is to breathe. So I think to tell people that they need to care more about others when they desperately want to save themselves first is, I think, wrong. And I may be wrong, but that's my opinion. And that sometimes it's completely fine to prioritize yourself, your goals, and your desires. And if you look at people who are incredibly successful, even though, yes, I'm not saying they don't do good things, but you look at, I don't know, like popular athletes and things like that, and entrepreneurs, whatever, just people that would typically be looked up to, right? Even though I don't know them personally, it seems to me that all of them came, or the ones that came from like a bad place, didn't think about the good they were going to bring onto the world. It's not really what motivated them. Is it a bonus? Is it something like, yeah, it's very nice, it's very good, very healthy. But I think the main driver was that they like desperately wanted to get out of the situation that they were in. And I don't think this is talked about enough. And yeah, it's like, I think if you're looking to like sort of find a perfect purpose or something, if that's even a thing, like you're actually trying to find meaning, and then yeah, like it's perfect to communicate with people and or sorry, not communicate, well, yes, but connect with people and do something that does lie beyond the self, because it's the opposite of selfishness, right? And it feels good to not be selfish, but sometimes you need to be selfish to get anywhere. And you can, if you're drowning, you can't help anyone. You're dying, like you need to be able to swim properly first. And that's my thing. Like, oh, so many times people say, oh, like care more about yourself, like your main goal, what it's bringing to the world. And sure, that's true, but it depends a lot on when you are or where you are. Yeah, and like the big guys, a lot of them are just running away from something, from being incompetent or from failing. Fear. I personally don't think this is the most um, optimal state of mind for like achieving things, like external things or whatever. Like, sure, it could be. I don't think eternally it is the optimal way, but there's phases to life, and if that's all you got at the time, then use it. It definitely is better than just staying where you are. So, yeah, I mean, I usually say like optimal isn't optimal unless it's achieved, because you have so many things, so many people talking about what's optimal and not optimal. And it's like telling an obese person that never lifted a weight in their life to work out 3 hours a day, because not that that's the optimal, but you get the point. Because that's optimal. It's like, doesn't matter. He's not going to do it. Yeah. What's the second point? That was a long, Jesus. 5 minutes talking about that. Yeah. No, actually, no. That's pretty much it. And then, yeah, phases. Like, I think a lot of people want a purpose. People want a purpose, it seems to me, anyways. They want the answer. They want, like, one sentence that's going to carry them throughout life and it's going to solve all the problems. But that's not really it. I mean, if you look at the purpose of your life when you were a kid, it was probably just playing with your friends and having fun and learning about things and exploring the world. And then if you start, you start getting older and maybe now you still, want to be with your friends, but you also start worrying about grades and getting good grades and such. And, uh, then all of a sudden you also start getting into romantic relationships and then you need to worry about your career choices and money, and then you got kids. So purpose changes all the time. I don't think there's, I think there can be like a singular purpose in the sense of you pick something to dedicate yourself to for an extended period of time and get really good and really enjoy being competent in bringing good things into the world. I think that's very honorable and something that can definitely be achieved. But like, you don't just find something and then you stop seeking altogether, in my opinion. And life, sometimes purpose is just life itself, as fucking weird as that sounds, or cliche or wishy-washy, like snowflakey, you know what I mean? So yeah, sometimes there's just phases and you need to realize where you are, and if you're incredibly miserable, even though maybe you won't be so happy thinking of the pain of being miserable and like working towards not being there, it certainly beats being miserable. So use what you got. And yeah, the last thing is exactly, my last point is exactly that, is that like purpose also comes from pain. Like, even I'll give me as an example. Like, growing up, I always felt like a bit lost, something like I wasn't ever like fully sure about anything, like dedicating myself to something. And I always had an interest in the sort of the niche, the area of finding purpose. Like, what does that mean? And it sounds weird, but like purpose, my purpose is like ideally helping people find purpose. It sounds weird, but only because it's worded that way. Because really, what I wanted was to really help people as best as I could in something that I could be good at. And I was thinking about, what can I do? What can I do? And then I realized that I had that pain, of feeling lost. And if I could help people not feel lost, stop feeling lost, and feel like they had a sense of direction, something they can actually dedicate themselves to, and potentially save lives, then that would be incredibly fulfilling. And in a way, that's sort of a mix from pain, so sort of, I'm going to say the negative, but whatever, like the negative side or more negative side, and the positive of helping people. But sometimes that's what you need to do. You need to mix it up, right? And depending on your goals, you might just have to use pain as much as you can. You look at like people, obviously they're extremes, but I don't know, like Goggins or whatever. Like there's like Goggins and Alex Hormozy, and I don't know, like even Ronaldo. And I don't know the guys. Like, I won't speak for them, obviously, but from what I can interpret, it seems to me that they sort of fear more the, the possibility of being incompetent and sort of lazy and all of that than actually love what they do. I know that's very complicated, like to analyze these things, but hopefully you kind of get where I'm getting at. And like I said, I don't think that's the most optimal state of mind, but I do think that sometimes it's all you got, because when you're drowning, it's very hard to be positive. And so if the only thing you have is negativity, I won't stay here. I won't sit here and tell you that something is wrong, that you should be more positive. I will tell you to embrace it. That, we have darkness in us, to embrace it and to actually use that to change your life and change the direction of your life trajectory. And hopefully, as time goes on, you don't drown, maybe not as much. You can breathe a little bit better, and you can start assessing sort of, what to do. And I actually think this happens with a lot of successful people. I think they achieve what they wanted. They're no longer that desperate, like, state of lacking something, or being afraid of not being competent. They get the big thing, and then they're like, what now? And I think, in my opinion, typically that's where you shift to a more peaceful state of just finding something that's beyond just you. Yeah, but yeah, that's it. That was my opinion on finding purpose. Thanks for watching.